They called it Little St. James, a speck of land in the turquoise Caribbean that looked like heaven but functioned like hell. For decades, the world's elite sipped champagne on its shores, while the cries of the vulnerable were muffled by the crashing waves. This 72-acre paradise was owned by Jeffrey Epstein, a man whose wealth was as mysterious as the visitors who frequented his private docks. Beyond the luxury resorts and personal cinemas lay a network of underground tunnels designed to hide the darkest of sins. The story begins not with a billionaire, but with a humble math teacher at the Dalton School in New York City. Jeffrey Epstein had a brilliant mind for numbers, but his true talent was calculating how to climb the social ladders of the ultra-rich. By the 1970s, he had traded the classroom for Wall Street. Quickly becoming a fixture in the world of high finance, he managed the fortunes of titans like Leslie Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret, earning millions in commissions and building a terrifying amount of influence. Epstein wasn't just looking for money. He was collecting people, specifically the most powerful individuals on the planet. His social circle included presidents, royalty, and tech moguls, all bound together by the secrets shared behind closed doors. To transport his guests, he used a private Boeing 727 nicknamed Telolita Express by the investigative press. This aircraft became a mobile fortress of exploitation, flying powerful men to his various properties across the globe. In the shadows of this empire stood Ghislaine Maxwell, the daughter of a British media tycoon and Epstein's indispensable partner. She was the architect of the recruitment network, using her social status to lure young girls into a life of trauma. Maxwell would often wait outside schools, offering money and the promise of a better life to girls who were often from broken homes. These young victims believed they were being hired for professional massages, only to find themselves trapped in a nightmare. The first major crack in Epstein's armor appeared in 2005, when Courtney Wild decided she would no longer be a silent victim. She walked into a Palm Beach police station and told a story that should have ended Epstein's career forever. Investigators were horrified to find stacks of evidence, including photographs and flight logs that implicated some of the biggest names in the world. However, the legal system proved to be a playground for the wealthy rather than a shield for the innocent. In 2008, a secret sweetheart deal was orchestrated by U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta and Epstein's high-priced legal defense. This deal allowed Epstein to avoid federal charges in exchange for a short, lenient sentence in a local jail. For 13 months, Epstein lived a life of luxury, even while incarcerated, leaving his cell daily to work in his private office. This mockery of justice left the victims feeling abandoned and sent a message that the elite were truly untouchable. Among the names mentioned in the files was Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, whose friendship with Epstein would lead to a royal crisis. Virginia Giuffre, one of the primary survivors, alleged that she was forced into encounters with the prince on multiple occasions. The image of the prince, with his arm around a young Giuffre, became a global symbol of the scandal's reach into the highest levels of power. By 2024, the pressure became unbearable, and the British royal family was forced to strip Andrew of his titles and duties. The tide finally turned in 2019 when investigative journalist Julie K. Brown published a report that exposed the corruption of the 2008 deal. Her work reignited the dormant embers of public fury and forced the hand of federal prosecutors once again. On July 6, 2019, federal agents arrested Epstein at Teterboro Airport, marking the end of his decade-long run as a free man. This time, there would be no secret deals, and the judge denied him bail, citing the overwhelming risk to the community. But the justice that seemed so close was snatched away on the morning of August 10, 2019. Epstein was found dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, a facility that was supposed to be the most secure in New York. The circumstances surrounding his death were so suspicious that they birthed 1,000 conspiracy theories overnight. The cameras had failed, the guards were asleep, and the man who knew everyone's secrets was suddenly gone across the globe. The phrase "Epstein didn't kill himself" became a rallying cry for those who believed the elite had silenced him. People feared that with Epstein's death, the names of his co-conspirators would remain buried in the vaults of the FBI. The focus then shifted to Ghislaine Maxwell, who had vanished from the public eye immediately after Epstein's second arrest. She was eventually found hiding in a remote New Hampshire mansion and brought to New York to face her own day in court. In June 2022, Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison for her role as the mastermind of the trafficking network. While she was behind bars, the battle moved to the Epstein files, the thousands of pages of documents that contained the truth. As we moved into 2024, the political landscape in America shifted, and the promise of transparency became a central campaign issue. Donald Trump, once a neighbor of Epstein, promised that if he returned to power, he would declassify the files. True to that promise, the 2025 Transparency Act was passed with rare bipartisan support, forcing the government to open the archives. The public was finally given a deadline of December 19, 2025, to see what had been hidden for so long. When the files began to drop, they revealed a web of codinoms and secret communications that spanned decades. One of the most shocking revelations involved the codename The Invisible Man, which was used to facilitate high-profile visits. The documents suggested that the recruitment of girls didn't just happen at schools, but through a sophisticated digital network. Emails between Maxwell and her associates detailed how they managed the summer camps for the world's most powerful guests. As of today, in early 2026, over 1.2 million pages of documents are still being processed and analyzed by legal teams and journalists. Every new release brings a fresh wave of accountability, as former associates are forced to explain their presence on the island. The Epstein files have become the largest archive of elite corruption in modern history, proving that the truth cannot stay buried forever. Survivors like Courtney Wild and Virginia Giuffre are no longer victims, but the architects of a new era of justice. The mansions in Florida and New York have been sold, and the island of Little St. James stands as a ghost of its former self. However, the impact of what happened there continues to resonate in every courtroom and capital city around the world. Billions of dollars in settlements have been paid out to the survivors, yet money can never fully erase the scars left by Epstein. The focus is now on the untouchables, who still walk free, many of whom are mentioned in the most recent 2026 data dumps. The legal battle in 2026 is centered on whether the privacy of the victims should keep the names of the perpetrators hidden. Prosecutors argued that the public interest in knowing who participated in these crimes outweighs any other consideration. This story is a testament to the fact that power can buy silence, but it cannot buy a clean conscience. The invisible men of the world are finally being seen, their shadows illuminated by the persistent light of the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's empire was built on the exploitation of the weak, but it was destroyed by the courage of those who survived him. As more pages of the files are turned, the world watches to see who else will fall from their high pedestals. The history of Epstein Island is now a cautionary tale for the global elite, a reminder that no one is truly above the law. The journey from a math teacher to a monster ended in a cold jail cell, but the ripples of his actions are still felt. As the sun sets over the Caribbean, the island of Little St. James remains a silent witness to the horrors it once held. The fight for the full truth continues, and the world will not rest until every page of the Epstein files is read.